Hello, happy fucking Friday. I hope you were having an amazing end to your week. I know there is all the intense energy right now. We got the retrograde, we got the fucking eclipse. We got it all going on. So if you're feeling like you're not alone, and it's okay, it's gonna pass. So let's dive in today and talk about this concept of doing the damn thing. Because the truth is, why most people aren't successful is they're not taking action. And they're not course correcting and they're not using the information that comes from it. Failing is such a big part of success. You will hear every single fucking successful person say that, period. You need to get into action. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to try things out. You need to learn a strategy and implement it and go, oh, fuck, that didn't work. Or, hey, that was awesome. I learned something from that. You have to get in there and do it. And we live in a world right now, particularly in the online space, where it's so focused on the inner work. And don't get me wrong, I am all about the inner work, guys. Like manifestation, all that shit is so important. But you have to pair it with actually taking action, with getting out there, with making the sales calls, or getting in the DMs, or connecting with people somehow, or getting on live video like this, talking to people. We need to be marketing. We need to be putting offers together. We have to do that. The money's just not gonna like poof out of thin air. We have to take action. And it's uncomfortable. But this is why most people are not successful. This is why most businesses, and when I mean most business, I mean like 60% of businesses never, ever, ever crack $25,000 cash each year. They just don't. And that's a travesty as far as I'm concerned, because I know so many of you out there. I know so many of you, and you have integrity. You have an amazing offer. You have heart. You have soul. You will bring so much into this world, but only if people ever find you, only if people ever have the opportunity to work with you, to buy from you, to see what you have. And that means we have to get through that discomfort of kind of sitting on the sidelines and kind of quietly, sort of dipping our toe in. Like, we have to jump in the deep end of the pool. As we all know this, right? Like, ever since we were kids, what's the best way to take a Band-Aid off? Is to rip it off. Because when you pull it slowly, what happens? Each little freaking hair gets stuck and it's like, ow, 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 ow. And you pull like a centimeter of it off. And then you're like, I don't even know if I want to, I might just like leave it on. I might just forever have a Band-Aid on my arm because this fucking hurts. Right? It's human nature. Like, we don't want to be in pain. We don't want to be uncomfortable. But the truth is, when you know you have something to offer the world, when you know you have a gift, when you know that your mission, your purpose, your desires, your heart, your soul is in this work that you're doing, and it's not coming to the fullest expression that it can be, that's hard. Like, that's weight on us. That's like your soul feeling heavy. And it feels that way all the time. It's always like that background discomfort. And we learn to tune it out. We learn to ignore it. We live in a society that still favors the, safe 9-to-5 job over the go be a brave entrepreneur or an artist or whatever it is that your heart's being drawn to. It's something that we've been conditioned to do, but it's not fun. It's not comfortable. And a lot of people who are living like that, they're unhappy, right? That's the truth. You're not happy. You're not fucking fulfilled if you aren't living in this space where you're like, I'm doing it. It's scary that I'm doing it. And I always like to think about this in terms of things that we've done before. Like, the first time you did just about anything, it was scary. Like, the first day of school for most kids is terrifying. The first time you ride a bike without the training wheels is terrifying. The first time you go on a roller coaster is terrifying. The first time you drive in a car by yourself without anybody else in it is terrifying. But when you do it, and then you go, hey, I didn't die. Hey, that was kind of fun. Oh my God, I want to do that again, right? Like, we move through the fear, and it really is the fear of the unknown. And we do this to ourselves in business, right? Like, we can do it with bringing on clients. Like, oh my God, what if they hire me and I'm not good enough, or they don't like me? Or what if I'm super successful and then people only want me for my money? Or what if I like give it every bit of effort I've got and nobody ever buys from me? Oh my God, that'd be even worse. Like, we go through all of this inner turmoil. So this is why I said, yeah, you still have to do the mindset work. Like, you cannot sidestep that shit. That is absolutely core, but you have to do the mindset work while you're taking action. It's the best time to do it because you will scare all of those beliefs, all of those limitations to the surface so you can see them. It's basically like you're getting all the moths out of your closet and you go, holy shit, I mean, there's holes in my favorite dress, bitch, like fuck. But it's good because guess what? Now you can repair the dress and then you can wear it again. You can't wear that dress while it's locked up in that closet. So we have to let it all come out. We have to face our skeletons. We have to go, okay, are you as big and scary as I've been making you out to be in my head? And most of the time the answer is no. And then we go, oh shit, I've held off for weeks, months, years maybe from doing these things that are really lighting up your soul, that are really what you're here on this planet to do with this short, beautiful life that you've got. And it feels so compressing if you're not letting yourself expand, right? You're here to expand. You're here to grow. That's the whole purpose of life, is for you to have experiences to grow your soul. So facing your fears is one of the biggest things in doing that. So recognizing that it's okay to be scared, and that even the people who you see, who you're like, oh my God, these experts that we tend to put on pedestals, and you shouldn't, just saying, shouldn't put people on pedestals, but we do. I mean, it's human nature, right? But bring them back down to earth, because the truth is, they were scared at one point. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing at one point. Anybody who you follow, who you really love, go and listen to them have like a really candid interview, or listen to them back before they were a mega success. I really love hearing Oprah speak about a lot of her experiences because she's so real about them. And, you know, she talks about when she was, you know, doing the newscasting before she got into, you know, broadcast TV and interviews and having her own show, and how, you know, she was trying to be somebody else. She was trying to be somebody she wasn't. She was trying to fit in, and everybody was like, oh no, it's a safe job, and da-da-da, and she wanted to be famous, and she wanted to be an actor and do all of these things, and she felt so stuck and repressed in it all, and it was all about moving through that fear to get to the other side of it. And that's something that's really big, and that's something all of us have to do. I had to do it too. And there's new fear at different levels. I'm going to tell you and be honest, like that doesn't go away, guys. You just learn to lean into it more. You realize that there's a reward on the other end of that fear, and that failure isn't really that big of a deal. We tend to think it is, but that's such an adult concept, right? Like kids, you ever see kids learning something? Maybe you're a parent, or if you're not a parent, maybe you're an aunt or an uncle. And when you see kids playing and figuring things out, you know, like they're trying to put the square peg in the round hole and it's not fitting, and they're scratching their head. They're going, what the fuck is going on? But they don't overthink it and go, okay, I need to study this cube. They go like circle, star, triangle, square. Oh, it fit in the square. Oh my God, the square fits in the square. Holy shit, I just learned something. And that's what we need to do as business owners. We need to go and try and put that square peg into every fucking hole until we find what one it fits in. They go, oh shit, I learned something. It doesn't fit in those other holes, that's for sure. And that's big. That's transformative. That's where you can make leaps and bounds. But it's always coming into it with this idea of exploration, with getting your hands dirty, with being okay with it not going perfect the first time. And that's the truth of it. Like, guys, I can't tell you how many failed launches I had until I really figured out how to sell in a launching period. And I can tell you the number one thing that was fucking up my launches was fear. Period. I was so entrenched in fear. I was so scared that if I gave it everything I had and I failed, that I was really screwed. And so I would self-sabotage by kind of half-assed doing it. And in business, in life, anything that you really want, you can't half-ass it. You got to whole-ass it. You got to put everything you got into that shit to really see what's there. And when I finally realized I was self-sabotaging, because it's sneaky, right? Like, let's face it. It's not like we're consciously going, I know that I'm fucking myself over. We're not doing that. That's happening in the back of our head. We're justifying in the conscious part of the brain, going, no, oh no, I'm not doing it because blah, 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 blah. There's a real great logical reason for this, even though it's bullshit, right? So we have to bring that into our line of awareness. But once we do, we can go, oh, interesting. And then I made a deal with myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to take everything I've ever learned about launching, about sales, about marketing, and I'm going to give this next launch everything I've got. I'm going to implement every strategy and I'm going to see it through to the very end. And if it fails, then everything I know is bullshit and I need to start from scratch. I need to learn some new tricks and tools. And if it works, then I know that I've just been shooting myself in the foot launch after launch because I've been afraid. And that's exactly what I did. I put on my big girl pants and I was fucking terrified and I showed up every day and I didn't want to, but I fucking did it. And what I realized after that very terrifying experience is that most people buy last minute, which I didn't know because I never really gave it my all during a launch because it was like I'd announced something and people didn't buy right away. And then I was like, oh my God, I thought everybody'd love this. Nobody's buying it. Oh my God, what if maybe they don't like it? Maybe this isn't what people want. And I would just spiral. And so when I finally was like, okay, I'm going to see this bitch through, and I did, I just realized that everybody's pretty last minute because they see something and they're like, oh, that's great. I'll buy it later, right? It's just psychology. It's human nature. And so people were buying in the last few days. And I've seen this happen with all kinds of launches. And I like to reference this one because it just kind of illustrates this point. A few years ago with my business partner, Tony, we were running a really cool 3-week entrepreneur retreat. And we were so excited about it. And it was like a $2,000 retreat. And we're launching and going through it for several weeks, all the things, doing it all. And like nobody's buying. And it takes a lot to, even though you know that people buy last minute, like I finally learned that, even when you know that, you can still get into the last week and go, oh my God, what if nobody's going to buy this? And it's okay. It's normal. It's human. But we push through the fear and we do it anyways. And we sold all of the spots for that program. We sold 10 spots for that program between the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before it started on that following Monday. Last 3 days. I mean, it's been mind blowing. I mean, that's one of the things I wish somebody had told me when I started as an entrepreneur is like, people buy last minute, just show up and keep marketing. And that was a big breakthrough for me. So we have to learn that fear is only ever going to hold us back. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have something to teach us, right? Like, I mean, there's a reason why we have fear if we're going to like cross a busy intersection. Like, you know, your heart rate goes up a little bit and you're aware and you're focused and you look both ways. Like, otherwise we'd all be dead, right? Like we just start walking across the street, get hit by a car. There's a reason we have fear. It is a healthy thing. You ever get stranded in the woods, you're going to be glad you got it so you don't get eaten by a bear. Like, there's times where fear is a really good thing. But most of the time in our day-to-day lives, especially as entrepreneurs, business builders, you're doing anything outside of the norm, fear can be a pain in the ass. So we have to learn to acknowledge it, to know that it's not going to go away, right? Like even the fear of peeling off a Band-Aid, as silly as that can sound, it doesn't go away, right? Like it's always going to be there. So rip the fucking Band-Aid off. Get used to just acting in spite of it. Like feel it, acknowledge it, go, okay, spirit, soul, inner self, inner child, however you want to speak to yourself. Like, I know it's uncomfortable, but you know what? We got to do this thing. And whether we do it today or 2 years from now, doesn't really matter, does it? It's still going to be scary. So we may as well do it now and get this motherfucker over with. Like just speaking to yourself in that way. So liberating. It's so liberating. So I encourage you to look at what you've had on your agenda. And particularly anything where you're making little excuses. And the reason I say excuses is because fear likes to pretend it's something else, right? It likes to pretend that it's because you're too busy or because you're moving or because your room's messy or because, you know, you haven't mastered the makeup you want to do for your life. Like whatever the fuck ever, right? Like, I mean, fear will come and just tell you there's a really logical reason you're not doing the damn thing. And it's bullshit. At the end of the day, it's bullshit. Like we just have to call bullshit on ourselves and we need to just do it messy, do it dirty and get the fucking thing over with. So I encourage you to just step up to the plate and do it where you're at. This is one of the things that, again, it's hard for entrepreneurs. And I see a lot of people who are new in business and they focus on getting everything like picture perfect, right? Like the website's all pretty and their makeup's perfect. Or if they're a guy, their suit looks fantastic and their hair's all brushed nice and there's not a thing messy in the room or they got one of those fake backgrounds behind them, whatever the fuck it is, right? Like they're trying to make it look perfect. And my big thing, especially as an Aquarian, I can't help myself, is I want to show you time and time again that it doesn't need to be perfect, guys. Like, I got a ring light on my desk. I told my husband not to buy me this thing. I told him I wasn't going to use it. Why? Because I want to show you that you can come on here with subpar lighting and still make sales. I want to show you that you can show up without any makeup and make sales. And your hair can be messy and not washed today. And you can make sales. Like, it doesn't need to be fucking perfect. It just needs to be relatable. It needs to be real. And you need to solve problems for people. If you can do those things, you can make money. And you don't need anything else. Like, for the longest time, I didn't have a website. I didn't have anywhere I was hosting my courses. When people signed up for a program, I'd put them into a pop-up Facebook group, and we just run it in there. And actually, to this day, when I run like a live program, we still do that. And then we upload it on the website later. But I didn't have a website for a really long time. I didn't have a website and hosting and all of this stuff until, we were making the money and it made sense to invest in it. And the truth is, if you have a product or a service and you can solve a problem, all you need to do is have that and get it in front of people. And because we have social media now, how lucky are we? Like, you don't have to go and spend 20 grand on flyers or a newspaper ad or a radio ad or a TV commercial. Like, you can get in front of people and make connections globally online for fucking free. But we have to get through the fear of actually having conversations with people. We need to actually socialize on the social media networks, which none of us seem to do. But we need to do that. We need to have those connections. We need to talk about what we're selling. We need to get it out into the world. When you commit to that, when you commit to going, I want to, shit myself, but I'm going to do it anyway. When you have that like straight talk with yourself and you just do it, it feels so much better. And my biggest advice is like, do the thing that you really don't want to do as the very first thing you do in your business every day. So if, for example, like conversations with people, like relationship building, and you're like, oh my God, talking to people is fucking do it the very first thing. Like, hop on your computer, immediately go to your friends list and like message 3 people you never talked to and be like, hey, you're my friends list. And, I don't even know who you are. Like, let's get to know each other. Let's start a dialogue. Like, those types of things. Or if you want to break yourself in, like if you're like, oh my God, one-to-one talking to people is terrifying. Go on video, or at least start doing some textual posts and introduce yourself and invite your audience to talk to you. Like, we have to start breaking that down. And anything that you've been afraid of, that's the thing to do. And I know that sucks, right? I know that's like the least favorite thing we want to hear. We want to hear effortless and ease and all of these things. And what I'm going to tell you is that it gets easier because you get more confident, because you get more skilled, because you're doing the things that were hard, but you now know how to do them, and you now know that you can produce results doing them. The hardest thing early on, and I so get this because I remember it like it was yesterday, is doing these things on blind faith, because you don't have that track record, because you don't know for sure that it will convert for you. And we have to just be okay doing it. We have to know that it's okay if we're going to stumble and fall. And, when I started as an entrepreneur, that's all I did. I fell and I fell and I fell and I had bloody knees and I kept getting back up and they got bloodier every time I fell. But I kept going because I had to. I think that's what we need to know, is that there has to be a motivating force behind it, right? Like, you have to have a do or die reason. And it has to feel like that, because otherwise we can so easily justify, like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month, I'll do it next year, whatever the case may be, because as long as we keep it future tense, we don't actually have to do it. And I always think we need to take action every single day towards those goals. It's not big action usually either, right? Like, if I'm like, hey, you need to do some relationship building, you could talk to 2 people a day. You can do that in 10 fucking minutes. Like, it's not that it's not doable. It's not that it's hard. It's that it's hard up here. It's that we're thinking it's hard. So we have to start to adjust the mindset and then just take the fucking action. Do it. And you build confidence from doing it. When you realize that, oh, people didn't start yelling at me when I talked to them. Oh, people actually, I'm meeting some people that I'm liking on here. Oh, shit, somebody's buying my stuff. Oh, it's a really great surprise on the other end of it. And that builds confidence. Doing hard things builds character. It really does. Like, you start to realize what you're capable of, and then you keep upping the playing field. And that's something that really brings fulfillment. It's not that there's ever this point of arriving. Like I talk about this a lot. Like success is such an illusionary thing because as soon as you hit a milestone, you're instantly thinking about the next one. Like let's say, for example, because it's all the rage, 10K month, right? Like let's say that's your goal. And you know, I'm not shitting on the 10K month. It has become kind of like a weird, revered thing. Anyway, but let's say that you're like a 10K month. That's like your big next goal and you're going for it and it's really exciting. As soon as you hit that, like you're going to be like, oh my God, what's next? And that's how fast it is. Like you might have a few hours or maybe a day or two where you're like cloud nine and fucking did it. I fucking did it. Like you're having that moment. But then it's like, what's next? What's the next goal? What's the next thing? What's the next client? What's the next product I'm going to develop? Like we have that in us as human nature, right? Because we're always engaging in life. So it really never ends. So part of this is also just getting comfortable with where you're at and enjoying the journey. Because, you know, you're going to get to a point where you're going to look back one day and go, man, I remember when I had all that time and didn't actually have a lot of clients, a little bit of money coming in, but man, I got to have all this creative space and it was great. Like there's always that aspect to it where that, you know, there's always something that was enjoyable and hindsight's always 20/20, right? But we can learn to cultivate that hindsight as, you know, just being present and going, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this point in my business where, yeah, I'd like more money. Yeah, I'd like more clients, but I'm loving the space that I get to work in. I'm loving the fact that I get to help these few people. I'm loving the fact that I get to have a lot of free time. Enjoy that because that can change really quickly. You know, you suddenly get like 20 clients sign up and it, like, let's say you're a coach or a consultant or, you know, you do tarot readings or whatever, like something where you're engaging with people one-on-one, your time gets eaten up really quickly. And again, it's a good thing. You're going to celebrate it, but it just changes. Your business changes, it evolves and you evolve with it. So enjoy every piece of that. So anyway, I'm going to get off of my like rambling seat here, but my biggest takeaway for you today is acknowledge where you've been holding yourself back. Look for any excuses you've had and really poke some holes in them and go, you know what? I'm going to do this thing. Put it on your calendar. Like if you can't for some reason do it immediately right now in this moment, put it on your calendar for your next available opening. So it's Friday right now. If you're watching this with me on Friday, the very latest you can do this, as far as I'm concerned, is Monday. Gotta schedule some time. Because I can pretty much guarantee you the big scary thing that you want to start doing, you could do in an hour or less. Like you could start that process in an hour or less, whether it's talking to people, whether it's, you know, maybe you're like, I want to be an author. I've always wanted to write a book. Like, great. Start writing the book. Like, whatever it is, you can get it started by Monday. So plan it, get excited about it, and get into action. That is going to change your life. Now, if you're really ready to face fear, and you want to look in the eyes and go, motherfucker, you're not stopping me ever again. You're not holding me back. I'm going to kick your ass. Like, that's where you are right now. I have an amazing program. It is called Fuck Fear. And it is really about just facing it, acknowledging it, learning how to process it, and move through it effectively. It's an 11-day experience, and it's all about empowering yourself and learning how to live with and move through your fear. So that program is $666. I am going to be putting a link in the comments where you're going to be able to get it 90% off. So a one-time payment of $66 or 12 monthly payments of $6 and some odd cents, because I want you to have accessibility. I want you to be able to take this and dig in and go, motherfucker, you ain't gonna stop me. So I'm going to get that for you today. I am so excited that you dropped in to join me for this because this is the magic sauce. And yeah, it's simple. Most of the things that really create success are simple, but they're not easy, right? Like logically, yeah, face my fear, do the hard thing. Yeah, makes sense. But actually doing it, different ballgame. So we're going to do this together. I'm here for you. I'm going to get that for you. And the other thing is, you need support, I'm here. DM me. I'm accessible. Like I'm not, you know, inaccessible here. You got a question, reach out to me. Email me, DM me. I'm on Facebook all the time. You guys know this. So get help. Surround yourself with people who are going for it. Join entrepreneur groups and make friends with other entrepreneurs. do that. That's huge. That's huge. So anyways, getting off my high horse here. Thank you for joining me for this. I hope that this lit a little fire in your belly and you're like, fuck yeah, I want to do the things. Because that is where it happens. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy this interesting eclipse energy, because it is certainly bringing a lot of clarity, and it's also bringing a lot to a close, which every time something ends means something begins, right? So this is the time of you beginning to live your life, facing fear, doing the things, and being a freaking badass. All right. Love you, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.